So what you need for today's training to make it even more effective for yourself is a chair or a park bench, a small ball, one about 4 to 6 inches in diameter, or a rolled up towel if you don't have a ball. Using a ball that's too big is actually less effective. So the right size ball is good, and 2 weight plates or 2 books the same height, or you can even take your shoes off and you can be standing on the front of your shoe. So what it'll be, your heels will go on the plates. So this allows you, when you do the quiet squats, to not have to be so bent forward, especially if you're someone with really short calves or limited dorsiflexion, the ability to bend your ankle, or really long femurs. And that's okay to use. Some of you won't need to do that, but some of you may need to use that for even the whole 25 days, and that's totally fine. It'll still get good results. Hello, welcome to the 25 days of Tai Chi Walking series. My name's Chris. I've developed this course. I've been training Tai Chi for about 27 years and been teaching for decades as well. I'm a rehabilitation specialist as well, so I've rehabilitated a lot of my own injuries and injuries in clients as well. I work with the human body every day. I work with joint injuries, tendon problems, spinal problems in particular every day. So I have a lot of insight into what works, what doesn't, what needs to happen for the body to stay well and stay strong. Tai Chi is a very effective way of building real strength inside your body and long-lasting health. So to build fitness in your body and build that everlasting strength, it needs to be built on a robust health first. So where Tai Chi is the first road you go, is a health road first. Then gradually, as you're able to practice more, you get the skill of what you're trying to do. What we're aiming to do, the concepts are embodied in your body. Then you can load it more, spend more time on it, and it just develops more and more out of your body. And Tai Chi is one thing that keeps opening your body year after year. So we're going to make sure there's space, there's clearance, so things can move. We're going to make sure that the sacroiliac joint at the back, make sure that can open. So about 3 degrees of movement, that it can move. That you really understand how to move through here, that your brain can connect here and rotate in without the knees. See this motion here? That's me moving actually from my ankles. There's not really movement from here at all. If I stop moving my ankles, there's no movement here. So I want to be able to keep the knees still and still be able to rotate here. As I turn, I feel a spiral through this leg and a spiral this way. So I feel the weight go into this edge of the foot, into this edge of the inner foot here. But I don't lose the tripod. So the tripod's very important, extremely important. And I'll focus on it a lot. So the very center of the heel, knuckle of the big toe, knuckle of the little toe, there should be a tripod weighting equally. So 50%, 50%, 50% of your weight through most movements, especially when you've got weight in one leg. Problems come when there's not enough weight in the heel. That goes to the forefoot, overloads the patella tendon here. The center of mass, when you do that, it starts to come forward, not a proper sit here. So even the dantian can't form properly. So actually the body creates tension, can't breathe properly because the respiratory diaphragm going through here, that looks like a dome, and the pelvic diaphragms that look like domes this way, like a trampoline almost, they actually start becoming where they're not facing each other. So breathing doesn't happen effectively. People get very tight in the rhomboids when that happens, or tight in the neck. So as the center of mass starts to come back through the exercises and the Tai Chi itself, those diaphragms face each other. The ribs are in a better position in relation to the pelvis. The body can sink properly. It takes load out of areas that always have constant load. So we're working with these things every day of the 25 days. So you got to build a really big skill set. These are prehab exercises. They're exercises you do before you get injured. So it's knowing what biomechanics should be happening. So let's train that, make sure it's happening. And then when we do the Tai Chi movement, which is actually Tai Chi walking, it's actually quite a complex movement. Walking, just normal walking, is quite a complex movement. All rehab exercises are based off the gait cycle, things that should be happening through the different phases of the gait cycle. And then when we add arms to Tai Chi walking, that's even more complex. Okay, so Tai Chi is quite complex in terms of the biomechanics needed. Conceptually can be quite simple but profound. Rehab exercises really pulling what's this part of the body should be doing, make sure it's doing it. What's this part do? Make sure that's doing it, make sure they're working together. So that when you do your Tai Chi exercise, like, oh, that's good. I feel that connection. I feel more connected to my feet than ever. My feet can move more. My body feels more alive because the nervous system's more activated, but calmly activated. So all the best with this series. Welcome. So I'm making my right hand become a fist. My left hand is open. They come together. It's a slight bow. This is harmony. Yin yang, left right, male female, coming together to form harmony. So the person who uses this greeting, it's showing that you're someone who wants to cultivate harmony in your life and harmony with those around you. And we're really looking at health is about harmony of all the pieces inside you and how you relate to the world. So when we do this, we're actually showing each other we're here to create harmony within ourselves and the world. Okay, so it's very profound, just that. So let's start. So your feet together and your hands on your knees. And I'm bending my knees back and forward, very easy, but I'm aiming to keep my heels heavy. So I feel my heels heavy, heavy, heavy. And as I do this, I feel heavy heel, then I feel the weight also shifting towards, as I bend my legs, shifting towards this row of toes here, the metatarsals. Then when I come back, I feel the weight shift back here. So what this does, when I keep a heavy heel, even though I feel pressure through here as well, I still have a heavy heel. This allows a pronation of the feet, pronation and supination to start to happen too, and pronation of the heel to roll forward as well. So I'm just keeping heavy heel. That's the main cue. Heavy heels, feet relaxed. Thinking about your feet as soft, like melted plastic melting into the ground. So there's a full contact of your feet. And you may find it hard to contact the left heel. It's very common. The brain can lose a sense of the left heel. It's really important for hip position to regain that sense. So especially pay attention to your left heel. You may feel clicking in your knee or here clicking. This is all fine. It's only a problem, any joint that clicks, if it's painful. Painful clicking is a problem, but normal clicking is normal. So as we do more reps, you may find you can sink a bit more. I'll go to the side here. So as I sink, my heels are still staying heavy, they're on the ground. I've been doing this for a long time, so I can sink all the way down here. I still have my heels on the ground. And you may be able to do that already if you're someone versed in this training already. Otherwise, it might be something that might take you weeks, months, or even years to get down to. But this warm-up's very effective for the knees, the ankles. And the next part, we start to circle. So again, I've got that, so just small circles, thinking about my feet like they're melted plastic. So they're stuck to the ground. I'm not making my circles so big that I peel off the ground, peel, definitely not. Or like the feet are like suction cups, suction to the ground. The other way. So our limbs move in spiral motions, and Tai Chi works with spirals very, very well. So this here is training the spiral motion of the legs. This exercise is contraindicated when people do a big one and do this big scoop, like old skiing exercise. It's contraindicated there because there's big pressure on the meniscus. Small circles though is very good to do. It's good for the brain to have a feeling, awareness of this spiral. And you may even feel it loosening your lower back as well. So from here, lift up on the toe here. So you're coming up on the ball of the foot. So you're aiming to make here straight. So we're just flexing, especially the big toe, all the toes, but especially big toe. And for those of you who have limited big toe motion, this is a good start to get more motion. Not pushing into pain, go into stiffness, but not into pain. And then come up. So make your feet about hip width. So this is a neurosensory exercise, just like most of the things that we're going to be doing. So the feet straight ahead, body relaxed, a sense of sinking through your whole body. Raising up slowly, so 5 seconds up, pushing through your big toe as you do this. 5 seconds up, hold, 5 seconds, then 5 seconds down. Good, so we're going to do 5. So I'm coming up really slowly, putting some pressure through that big toe. The big toe should be activating to help support this motion. I'm relaxing my diaphragm, relaxing my body, slowly down. A lot of my clients do this one in the shower. They find time to do it in the shower. This is training proprioception throughout the entire body. It's so effective. If you get nothing from this course, but you did this every day, you'd actually be helping your balance for the rest of your life and helping your gait cycle. So a lot of people are diaphragm grippers, and I used to be one, still am occasionally. So when I go to lift, my body goes, huh, and sort of holds the breath here, the diaphragm tightens, and it feels really uncomfortable. Then if I let that go, it can feel like, oh, I haven't got no balance. So as I do this, I'm aiming to soften here, keep it soft and relaxed, not hold my breath, so the body can arrange itself without that diaphragm tension. Very, very good and healthy to do. If you can't breathe comfortably in a position, the body or the nervous system doesn't own that. Do one more. As you do this, make sure your ankle is not coming up like that and going back down like that. So it's showing weakness in the peroneals, the muscles that should control that motion. If you've ever sprained your ankle and never had it fully rehabbed, definitely do this exercise. The Tai Chi walking is very, very effective for rehabbing sprained ankles, especially old sprained ankles. Okay, good. So circle the hips, just small circles. So when we're training the body in Tai Chi, we want to be gentle with the body, soften. So we release tension by softening. So I'm aiming to do this not in a fast way, not in a rushed way, not like I've got to force my way through it all, definitely not. So when I'm soft in my body, and I use small circular motions, spiral motions, it releases long-held tension. So here I'm imagining I'm in a cylinder, and I've got to clean the inside of the cylinder with my hips, the head staying in the center. So this eases up the hip joints, sacroiliac joint at the back, the lower back as well. It mobilizes even up to here, because the head has to stay still. Go the other way. So just small circles. As you're feeling how your body is today, you find you can make the circle a bit bigger. But it's easy to make it bigger, not forcing it. So that's the key theme. We'll be doing all of the Tai Chi. We're not forcing things, we're actually relaxing into them. Practice is a lot more enjoyable when you don't have to force it. Okay, so sitting in your chair, not leaning against the back of it, so sitting on the sit bones. So the bones, if you rock your pelvis back, you'll feel like you're sitting your tailbone. You rock it forward, you'll find some lumpy bits on the bottom of your pelvis, that's your sit bones or the ischial tuberosity. And I want you to just feel both of those bones. Often the left one is a bit harder to feel, as the natural asymmetries in the body. So we're just feeling that, both. Aim to feel them evenly. You can actually change the orientation of your pelvis just by sensing that. Okay, so we've got 90 degrees, ideally around 90 degrees, 90 degrees here, ball between the thighs here. And then I've got my feet or my shins so they're parallel to each other. So I'm not like that or doing that kind of thing, parallel. And from here, I'm rising up on the balls of my feet like I'm doing a seated calf raise. Then I'm going all the way up, pushing through the big toe, coming down to the ball of the foot, lifting the feet as high as I can, as hard as I can, rolling through the foot up onto the big toe, so putting pressure on the big toe, not uncommon for the bottom of the foot to cramp, just showing how weak that spot is. So we're just activating a heap of muscles here, getting your brain aware what's happening in your body here. So when I do this movement with my ankle, my fibula, the side bone here, is making that motion. So relative to the ankle and the knee, it's making that motion, and when I push back this way, it's making that motion there. So the fibula is doing this movement. So it's important that it can make that motion. Okay, from here, opening, so you're keeping the ball between so your knees don't move, and I'm pivoting on the heel, turning the feet in as much as I can, turning them out as much as I can. So what that looks like in the front here is this, and then turning in as far as I can. Just notice if you've got one foot that won't turn in as much, often it's the right side for people, it doesn't turn in as much as the left. And we're doing this without moving your knees, no motion in the knees. So we're making it purely the rotational movement that comes from the knee. It's very good to have conscious control over that motion. So when we do Tai Chi walking, press, roll back motions in Tai Chi, this movement is always occurring in the knee. It's very subtle. So we're just making it highlighted so the body can access it. Good. Next one, the ball between the knees still. So I'm imagining like I've got a string from my belly button here. I pull the string forward and it makes my belly come forward. So it's like I'm arching my back. I'm really trying to arch it out. And then like I'm pushing in towards my belly, and I don't want my fingers to push into my belly, so then I'm letting it sit back. So I'm rocking back on my tailbone. I get the string, pulls me forward again. Then I'm pushing. I don't want to touch my belly button with my hands, so I sit back. So the motion is occurring from the pelvis here. So it's called lumbo-pelvic control. Just means pelvis and lower back control. Can feel really nice on an achy lower back. So all I want you is just about to do this motion. So it's coming through this section. That's where the movement's happening. If you find it hard to figure this out, what people do is this. So you see how I'm moving from the hip, but my whole spine's moving. So I'm just hinging from my hip. So I want you to keep your head quite still, sit back, and then pelvis rock forward. When I do this with my clients, they find this hard to get this motion. I grab their hips from the back, and as they go forward, I tip their hip forward, then I pull their hip back, and I get them, just follow my hands. So you might be able to imagine that, someone grabbing your hips, tipping the hip back, then they're going to tip it forward, so you just help them out until your body goes, oh, that's it, that's the movement. So if you find this really hard to do, please practice until it's like so easy, like I don't know why this is in the program. It means that your body's accessed this movement. Highly important for Tai Chi training. Highly important if you have pelvic floor issues, lower back pain, hip pain of any kind, knee issues, even feet issues. Really collapsed in arches of the feet. You need to be able to do this motion. Okay, good. Last one is that we're using this ball. It's why the ball's good. So you can use a rolled up towel between your knees, but the ball's good. So I'm going to pull this knee back and push this one forward like that. Then I'm going to pull this one back, push that one forward. And you may feel your adductors, so they're groin muscles on the inner thigh, working. And that's a good thing because the adductor pulls the hip back, helps it suction it into the joint better. And often people find the left hip harder to feel, that left groin. So what we're not doing here is the knees do this. So the body will try to figure out, it'll do this, or it'll do some motion with the body, but nothing happening here. So we want the body to stay quite still. It'll move a little bit, it's fine. But we want this section, this feeling of pulling back, pushing forward. through the longitudinal axis of the bones, this way. And the way you can help this to happen is to squeeze the ball a little bit. So as I pull my left knee back, I squeeze in a little bit too, and I feel that adductor quite nicely. Good, keep going. If this is hard to get, it's really important that your body can access it. And you've probably been suffering with hip or lower back pain or injury or stiffness for a long time if the body can't access this. So we're freeing up, we're allowing the brain to connect to movements that it would have had as a child. We're regaining it all. So my body's just naturally tuning here because it's working with the rotation. So I'll move into kwa squats. The kwa is the inguinal crease here. It's formed by what's happening with the pelvis. So when I bend my knees, I have a sense of sitting in here, like I'm sitting on a visible stool. The pelvis tucks under just slightly, but not so much that I'm really tucked under this way. And I lose a sense of bend here. So here it's like this is straight. I want here to be a bit of a bend. So my spine is vertical, the pelvis is a bit tucked under. So that's forming the kwa. The spring in the kwa is I feel the spring go through here and through the knees, through the feet. So even the feet are making this kind of motion here. If I relax my feet, they'll naturally make this spring. The knees will have a spring, force goes through the knees and not into the knees. And I'll make sure here is soft. So I'm relaxing in here, which means I'm relaxing the hip flexors in particular. And then the right muscles come online. So I can spring here. I'm moving here. If I'm just springing my knees but not here, the body tends to do this kind of motion. So I want to spring. So force can move up and down through my body. We want that. Okay, so we just soften this area here. So that's what the kwa is. And then it's important when we start moving that you can rotate into the kwa, not lose this one, not pushing this hip forward, not losing my spine. If I stay vertical, I keep a good kwa sit here. As soon as I do this, I lose one of my kwa. So the kwa is really important because it prevents overload of your knee. It teaches you how to really rotate properly into your hip, into the leg, connect, spring out of that area. So Tai Chi walking uses the kwa all the time. So what you notice you're able to do over time is that when you move, especially when you sit back, that your hip doesn't cock. So I drop this hip, this one rises, that'll cause problems in the knee and the hip itself. That it's not this way, that it's not pushed out this way, that it's not back this way. I just have a good control of that kwa and I can relax. And now I feel the force in the feet and I feel really spring loaded for movements with my arms now too. So that's the kwa. So we're going to activate the glutes here. As soon as we get some glute activation going, it supports the knees. So most people I find need this. So let's go feet shoulder width, then open the feet about 10 degrees, just a little bit. Most people need that about 10 degrees, it's easier. Then I've got a sense of twisting my feet, like I'm wrapping my little toe around my heel, or if my feet were to move, that they're going to do that. And I've got that sense of twist. It's maybe only 2 or 5% of my strength, but there's this torque there. It makes a reflexive action to get the glutes working. Then I squeeze my butt as hard as I can. Like I'm trying to crack a walnut between my butt cheeks. And I want you, can you feel that? Can you feel your butt working? Some people can't. And with this practice, it'll help you better feel those muscles engage. And then let it off, let it relax. Get your knuckles, or your knuckles this way, or with your thumb. Whack into your backside, center of your backside, top. So we're getting sensory awareness. So the body connects to muscles usually through sensory awareness first, so the feedback coming in from the muscle to the brain. And then we get motor awareness, is like the brain to the muscle, making it work. So even when I stop hitting, I still feel where I just hit. So the information goes to the brain and the brain finds that muscle. So we do the same thing. So I've got that bit of a twist, then I squeeze my butt as hard as I can, and I can feel that really working, squeeze even harder without pushing the hips forward. A function of the glutes is hip extension, so it'll push your hip forward. We still want the body to be stacked. We don't want to do this. stacked. So head over the torso, torso over the hips, hips over the feet. Let it off. Let it all be soft. The brain likes finding muscles and then losing them and having to find it again. Whacking again. Nearly every knee issue I see has a glute problem. So it's important we get glutes activating here, working. Twist, squeeze without pushing your body forward. Not holding your diaphragm, we're just squeezing our butts. We're not holding breath. See if you can squeeze even harder. Good. Then let it go. Okay, so let's go into the qua squat. So if you're really tight in your ankles, you don't have much movement in your ankles, or really inflexible in your hips, I recommend you use the weight plates, or you can take your shoes off and then you can stand on the front of your shoe. So you just arrange your shoes here and you're standing on the front of the shoe, so it'll give you a bit of a heel wedge. It allows you to stay more upright, but to sink a bit more, and open the other joints, so the hips and the knees, without being limited by the ankle. And over time you can take the height down until you have no extra thing helping you. So when we do this, we have the feet shoulder width, feet a little bit turned out like we just did, about 10 degrees. And really important is that the tripod, so I'll mention the tripod a lot. So the center of the heel, knuckle of the big toe, knuckle of the little toe, 50% weight, 50% weight, 50% weight. And yes, we're looking at 150% here. That has weighting all the time, evenly weighting all the time. So we be aware of that. So I'm stepping on heels on there. So I'm stepping my heels onto there. Now I'm aware of the center of my heel. I'm aware of the knuckle of the big toe, knuckle of the little toe. Tripod, take the weight. Now as I bend my knees, but I bend here too. So I sink straight down, keeping the weight even in the tripod, then I come back up. But I'm not locking things out, so I'm a little bit off lock in my hip and my knees. So I have that ground connection all the time. Okay, so what's really important with this qua squat is that I have a little bit of a tuck of my pelvis, just a tiny bit, so I tuck under. If I tuck under too much, it looks like that. Don't want that, but I don't want to tuck it where it goes this way, where I've got to arch back. This will load your back, overload your back. You don't connect to the feet properly. So I'm actually tucking my pelvis under this way, like if I had a tail, I'm tucking my tail between my legs. And what it does, it allows you to connect into your feet. As soon as I tuck here, I feel like it connects into my feet, into the tripod. So we have that neural connection, connect into the feet. So I have that. When I bend now, as much as my knee goes forward, my backside goes back. Really important this happens. So if you make this happen, as much as the knee goes forward, the backside goes back, and keeping the weight even in the tripod, you'll have a really good squat. You won't be overloading anything. The problem comes when the knee goes forward, people bend, knee goes forward, the pelvis goes straight down. See how there's nothing going backwards here? This is loading my knee like crazy. There's more of a tendency of the front of my forefoot to take the weight, not much in my heels. It's good for certain purposes. For what we're doing here, we want to really connect into the tripod. As much as the knee goes forward, hip goes back, which means I sit into here. And let's do some reps here now. So not locking out, letting the belly stay relaxed, shoulders, arms relaxed. And then I'm aiming to relax my legs as much as I can. Just keeping pressure in the tripod. Knee go forward, hip go back. The body will have a natural lean forward, that's fine. It's meant to do that. So I only go as low that if I went any lower, my heel, I feel like I lose weight in my heel, or I lose weight on the inner edge. If my knee comes in, I'll lose weight on the inner edge. If my knee was to go out, I'd lose weight on the outer edge. So I go as low as what I can keep the tripod, and I come back up. Or I go as low that if I go any lower, it feels like I want to tense everything up. Don't do that. I want to tense my body. I want to tense here. So I stay just shy of that. So the Kwa squats is a movement focus and a relaxation focus. So we don't sink lower by going into tension. We sink lower by relaxing. So I get to here, I feel like, oh, it's a bit tight here. I'll relax here. I feel the pressure go to here, but I can go a bit lower. I feel it more here. Okay, I'll relax here. Oh, it lets me go lower. I feel it here. I'll relax that and it lets me go lower. So I go lower by relaxing, not by going, I just want to go low, so I'll just push it. So it allows my body to really arrange itself, the nervous system to arrange itself through my body to the ground. So it's really useful for all of Tai Chi practice. Fundamental to Tai Chi walking, fundamental to overcoming knee and hip issues within Tai Chi. And you might feel your quads working pretty hard. This is good. If you need to stop, that's fine. We'll do another 10 more. About this speed is good. So I'm feeling too fast, a bit hard to feel. That's why Tai Chi's done so slowly, so you can feel every single millimeter of the movement. What's the body doing? Is it tensing? Is it connecting when you move? Phase through phase of movement. Something isn't powerful unless you can do it smoothly and slowly. Last one. Very good. Give your legs a shake, just like a dog shaking off water off its fur. So letting the muscle fibers open. So for the preparation, as we're building into the Kwa squats just then, we did exercises to make sure the hip has space to move, the knee can rotate, and the feet can pronate, supinate, big toe can move. So it allows what we just did to be more effective and less overload of constantly overloaded positions and joints. We're closing, so your feet shoulder width, knees off lock. Your arms coming up about 45 degrees angle, so not up to the side, about 45. Bit of a curve in the arms like you're gathering something here. Breathing in through the nose, nice and comfortable. Awareness in through the top of the head, scanning through your body, feeling through your body, relaxing downwards, down to your feet. So breathing in and out through the nose, tongue on the roof of the mouth. Awareness going through the top of the head, down through the body, to the feet. Just letting anything that may have risen in the session, letting it settle downwards. Just moving your arms to the speed of your breathing. So if you breathe faster than me, your arms will move faster than me. And just one more. awareness to your belly. So for males, left hand on the bottom, and or touching your body, and right hand touching your body for females. So I'll do left hand on touching body, other hand over the very top, just below your belly button. And just closing your eyes, just being aware of what's happening in your body. Are the legs shaking a little bit? Have they been worked hard? Are your feet a bit crampy or sore? Does your body feel warm? Just noticing what's there. Some parts might feel tense. It's good. Just notice what's there. And we're just letting the awareness descend out of your head down into your chest, like a feather that's been dropped, very easily, slowly, in its own time, like your mind sinking under the weight of its own relaxation, in its own time, down through your abdomen, resting inside your body, in the center of your body, at the level of your hands, in the very center. Just letting a little bit of weight come forward in your feet, so you have about 60% weight in the front of the foot. Just letting the energy collect in the abdomen. The awareness build in the abdomen. I dedicate the entire merit of this practice to the enlightenment of all beings in all places and all times. May this be a gift to the world and to you.